Hi, and welcome to the Journey to Happy podcast. This is a podcast about self introspection, self growth, mindfulness, life coaching, and all things related to the mind as we become the CEO of our own life. That's right. In here, we all become promoted to CEOs. Join me for weekly episodes on mindset tips, motivational stories, and of course, mindfulness based tools that will help us grow our confidence, grow our compassion, our zen, and our focus. I am a recovered self sabotager, a recovered anxiety junkie, and I can promise you that in here I am devoting all of my best mindset tips and shifts to help you get rid of all the elements of your mind that come to stand on the way of you and happiness, you and your full potential. So I am so excited that we're connecting. I am Olga. I am a retired social worker and now life coach, a mindset coach, a wife, blissfully a mother, and I am also your host. Thanks for joining me. See you inside. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Journey to Happy podcast. I am Olga, your host, and I'm excited that we're meeting yet again to discuss matters of the mind and the heart. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that has been coming up quite a bit with my groups of coaching and actually in my personal life. And that is, how do we keep up with consistency and motivation on the goals that we set up? I am excited to be diving into this with you guys because I have been recently reading a fantastic book that I highly recommend for all of you to read if this is of interest to you. It's called Atomic Habits. I actually listen to most of my books now. It's rare that I grab a book and read it because multitasking is something that I need to do at this moment in my life. And the very few times in which I choose to multitask is while taking my son on walks, and then I plug my ear pods on and I listen to my books. And Atomic Habits is one that it was recommended to me, and I'm glad I get it. I got it. I don't know you, but whenever a title of a book comes up as recommended by somebody who I follow or I respect or that is mentoring me, I make a point to download it right away because otherwise I'll forget. And so I like doing things as fast as I can so that I can put it in my list of books. And so this one is a short read and is being phenomenal. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because he talks about a concept that I often coach my clients through, which is what's behind setting a goal. What's behind the goal? How many of us are able, capable, and have achieved the setting up of a goal? Most of us have. But why is it that some goals we completely miss the target? We don't work towards them efficiently enough, we forget about them, or we end up losing the motivation to keep working at them. That's what I want to dive into with you today. And I'm going to give you some examples of goals that I myself have definitely let go because I haven't followed my own advice. And over the last few months, or actually I should say weeks, this has been a subject that my clients have been asking me to coach them on. And it's been fun to see the transformations happening as they listen to the coaching and as they implement. So, what is a goal? A goal is an end goal. So you can visualize where you want to get. Actually, many of my clients would describe that they feel confused, unsure, as to where they want to go because they haven't even gotten the time to sit down and get super clear on where they want to go, the end goal. But for most of us, let's say we've done this, okay, I've got it. Where I want to go is to save this much amount of money. Where I want to go is to play less board games and read more. Where I want to go is to certain athletic level, right? So we can easily sort of imagine, okay, if I like this, which I'm experiencing, I can kind of imagine how is it that I would like to feel, or how would I like my life to transform? How would I like my marriage to feel and be? We get that far, and that's the creation of a goal. What we're not so good at is the creation and sustainability of the habits, the little habits that long term help us stay connected to that goal. If you have never heard of my online course, Detox the Mind, you definitely want to be checking that out right after this podcast. I go into incredible detail in that course as to how we can begin to reframe the mind, the way we think, so that we can get over limiting beliefs, fears, and ultimately rewire our mind to stay oriented on habits that are actually helpful. I cover how to get over unhelpful habits, and actually it's a pretty complete program. It's got like 36 modules of videos of me talking about a variety of things that all relate to honestly detoxifying the mind. If you've been thinking about working with me in any of my coaching programs, this will be such a great way for you to get started and do some of that groundwork before we get to touch base. Anyway, I got sidetracked there because I just go into so much detail during that course about this particular subject. But let's dive in together. What do I mean by often the reason we don't get committed to our goals is because we don't stop and think of the habits. This is what happens. We give up too soon in our goals. So whether that's meditation, exercise, improving our communication skills, letting go of our anxiety, trying to think differently, letting go of our pessimistic mindset, whatever the goal might be, whatever you're struggling with. You can totally visualize that what would life look like without that, and you can wish it and desire it. But very few of us take the time to think about what would a person who doesn't have this problem behave like on a regular basis. So, for example, if I am struggling with exercising every day, I may have had this goal, okay, from this year on, I'm going to be moving and I'm going to be exercising half hour every day. And maybe 2 weeks down the road, I realize I am no longer moving. It started by every day, and then I went down to 3 days, then to two, maybe to one, or not even one. Has that happened to you? It's definitely happened to me with a variety of things that I've decided to set my mind to, but not fully committed because I didn't go through the steps. So, what will be missing for me? Why is it that I'm not sticking through the goal that I set myself? I sure would love to have a fit body and be more active human and have energy. I can totally visualize myself like that and say, that's what I want with my entire existence. What I didn't have the time or take the time to do was the breaking down of what will keep me motivated to do that goal. Here's the question that I want you guys to ask. What would a person who exercises every day think about themselves? What kind of beliefs will they have about who they are? Will they think that they're lazy and that they hate exercising? Or will they think that they're athletic? Well, likely the person who moves every day believes of themselves or sees themselves as an athletic human, and therefore behaves in ways that match up to that belief they have about themselves. This is the beauty about ourselves.
And also the flaw about ourselves. We are capable of as much as we think our potential is. So if my beliefs about myself is that I am powerful beyond measure, you bet that I am going to sign up for challenges, things that are difficult to do, because I personally believe that I am powerful beyond measure. If I believe I am an athlete at heart, or that I am a fit woman, you better believe that the showing up every day to exercise only makes sense. I don't have to fight it because it matches my belief. So that's where most of us fail when we're setting up a goal that we don't stick to it. It means you went out of your beliefs to set up a goal of something that you yet not believe to be part of your identity.
Hi, friends. I'm interrupting you here briefly to invite you to join my Detox The Mind online course. This is a do it yourself course. It is the step by step of how to change your mind from habits that are super unhelpful, like self sabotaging, like anxiety, like overthinking, and just about any element inside your mind that you currently do by repetition. But there's a better way. You know, there is a better way. You might not be interested in joining me yet in private coaching or joining a group coaching method. I get it. Maybe you just want to do this by yourself. This is your opportunity. Detox the Mind offers more than 12 weeks of content, step by step. It's me breaking down all of the steps that a person needs to take in order to really truly detoxify the mind from all those elements that end up feeling pretty heavy and discouraging without having to talk to somebody or having to share in a group. It will give you access, though, to a private Facebook group where from time to time I show up and do lives and answer questions that you can directly ask me from the course itself. What's in the course? A multitude of videos, more than 36 mini videos, as well as workbooks and checklists that help you stay on top of your progress. This course is currently for sale for $299, and it will be yours for life. So if this is something that speaks to you, if you're interested in creating new mental habits, in understanding the functioning of the mind so that you can play along the mind rules and actually get the results that you want, this course is for you. I really hope to see you in there. All the information is in the show notes.
So the exercise would be to reverse engineer. This is what I got all my clients, my becoming the CEO of your own life clients to do. They had the task to come up with their goal for the first quarter of the year. What is it that they want to work on the most? And they all had a very clear idea of what they wanted to do during our coaching together. And then I asked them to visualize all the things that would be accessible to them if they actually accomplish that goal. So for my client whose main goal was to step into her power regardless of being very ill, she then noticed that she will have a lot more stability emotionally, that she will feel really good about herself, that she would ride through those more difficult days when her health is at a really low point, that she will have a lot more courage to go through those days. She was able to visualize all of that. She even visualized her relationship being more fun, her having a better time, a less stressful time during those difficult days. For my client whose main goal was to improve the quality of her relationships, she was able to visualize to what degree the relationships would improve, the ease in which she would show up to talk to her relatives, the ease in which she would talk to strangers, and how nice it would be to gain back all the extra time that she currently spends overthinking after a social interaction. So every single one of them went to imagine all areas of their life that will have been impacted by them achieving this goal. So now you're like stepping into that energy of what it would look like for you to have accomplished that goal. For my fertility clients, they imagine themselves being pregnant or having had a baby, and what would have changed? What would that feel like? You see where I'm getting at? You're now stepping into an energy, something that you yet are to discover. But when you allow yourself and give permission to really just imagine yourself there, your body gets the motivation gets to a different level because you now have sort of like tasted this without even being there, but you can taste it. Uh, so then you're there. Okay, so now I know what Olga, who is a patient mom, that got them to that level. The answer for most of them were very simple. We were not looking for massive things. For example, if I just go down the example that I gave you of myself, which is true, one of my goals is to be a patient, loving mother. So far, that's come up to be pretty easy because my baby is only 1.5, and so rarely does he do things that really get under my skin. It hasn't really happened. But I can tell, I can start to see now he's looking at me and testing and wanting to do things his way and specifically going for what I just told him not to do. And so I have a glimpse into my future and how patience will definitely be a skill that I want to exercise on a regular basis to show up in a really peaceful way to parent my son. That's a huge desire of mine. Well, I had to begin to think, holy crap, I've never been a mom before. For those of you listening, this is my first and only child. So I really had to begin to think, if I was already a super patient mom, like what would be the things that I would have done on a regular basis that would have allowed me that extra room and capacity to be a patient mom? And I had to imagine maybe like patient parents. What do I think they do? What can I imagine them doing? And if you know somebody who's already accomplished what you're working on, that kind of becomes easy. You have somebody to look at. But I have a few people that I can refer back to, but I really wanted to just figure it out what that meant to me. And so I came up with a few things. For example, I believe that a patient mom has a good understanding of child development, because the more I understand where my son should be at developmentally with his age, the less expectations I would have of him being elsewhere, if that makes sense. So if my son's developmental stage at this moment is to say no, that's part of his development. Maybe I'm not going to take these as, oh my God, he's being defiant. And I'm going to have this extra understanding that would allow me to show up with a lot more patience, because now I know, no, this is typical of the age gap where he's at. His brain is learning about boundaries. So he will say no. Like at 4 years old, when he lies for the first time, I'm actually going to be proud of my son for lying, because I know that's a milestone of the brain. He just discovered he can tell me a different story. I'm not saying I'm going to celebrate it with him, but I know my level of patience will be different because I know what that means to his developmental stage. So I think I'm making a case here to just show you the reverse engineer of my goal being to become or to be a patient mom, and me beginning to think what will be some of the things that I'll have to do. So following along this, I realized, okay, I've got to learn more about child development. Perfect. I've downloaded a few books and it's in my schedule. There are a few days a week where I will listen to child development books. I've got other books and other interests and podcasts to listen to, but this has become a priority because sooner than later, I'm going to have to need this information to be able to keep up with my goal. Now, do you think that showing up to listen to my book is going to be a struggle?
it all depends on how bad I want this goal. And this means a lot to me. To be a patient mom means it's a great deal, because I also believe that how we talk to our children becomes their inner voice. And if I do something on a regular basis, is helping all of my clients rewire their inner voice. So I truly understand the importance of showing up as a patient mother. And so that's already a great motivation. And now that I've mapped out what are the things that a patient mom would do, this is one of them. Another thing that I realized would allow me the space and the room to be patient is to have me time. I realized that I am less patient to deal with a cranky baby, and to just deal with the people in my life in general, when I feel deprived of my own self-care and self-time. So one of the things that I have time after time come back to seeing how important it is that time for myself. So yeah, getting really clear onto where you want to go is how you create the goal. And then thinking about the behaviors that go along with somebody who's already in that goal helps you begin to identify the actual tiny steps that get you there. Often we just think of the big transformational changes. So if we're thinking of saving money, we think of like, how can I get this bulk of money into my savings account? And we completely dismiss that maybe people who have money started by saving $35 a week. Over time, they made some money that they wouldn't have had otherwise, right? So I want you to think about the small habits, the small steps that you can take on a regular basis that will take you to the sustainability and to the accomplishment of some place you want to go to. And why do I suggest them to be small? Very simple. Your life is already busy. It's already complicated. It already has all the things that you need to do and more. So being able to break it down into small, tangible habits will make long-term sustainability a lot easier. So again, if I want to save $10,000, it might seem like an overwhelming amount to begin with, but if I break it down to $35 a week, suddenly I feel like, oh, this is not so bad. And what happens when you succeed a little bit in the continuous work of your habits, your confidence, your trust that you can get there builds up, and now you've got the motivation. Now you're pushing through because you're seeing results being rewarded, right? And you get rewarded by seeing, okay, now I have $600. The 10,000 doesn't look so far away. Now I have 1,000. Now it's 9,000. I'm going after. So little by little, you begin to work on what really matters, which is changing the identity of who you think you are. You will never become somebody who exercises every day if the perception about yourself is that you are lazy. So we got to begin by changing that perception. So what if I start thinking of myself as an active person? That's already a change, right? Like that's a big change. Now I have to identify myself as somebody who's active. What do active people do? Will they cancel all their plans with friends that involve movement, or will they schedule more of those? Will they get up every morning to do some level of exercise, or will they keep pressing on snooze to sleep a little bit longer? You see, and then you can actually see how far you are from becoming. I have a little sticky note on my computer at all times that says, I am becoming. And that's my reminder to step into the energy of the Olga that I'm working towards, whether that's a patient mom, a, a powerful coach, whatever it is that I'm working towards, it's becoming. I am becoming. And then I get to think of what will be the energy of that dream coach? What will be the energy of that patient mom? What are the daily activities that she would do? So as soon as you're out of these podcasts, unless you want to listen to the next one, I really encourage you to set some time aside to break it down into who you want to become and what would be the things that that person does on a regular basis because she is already that. It is time like so worth it. Um, it's time that you will not be regretting of having spent doing it, doing this exercise. God, I can't talk. It's time that is worth it. Okay, doing this exercise will make you be so clear. I've done it. I do it often, but I've done it recently while reading this book, and I had so much mental clarity. Things like, oh, I need to go to bed earlier. That's it. That's super simple. I just have to move my alarm that reminds me to go to bed to to give me an extra half hour. And that would allow me to get up at this time. That allowed me to consistently do this one thing. Holy macro, that was so simple. And if it wasn't for the fact that I asked myself, what would a woman who is fit and working out regularly would do? What would she do? She will have this all sorted out. She will have her clothing outside the night before. So when she get up, the first thing she sees is that. And she will have her eating habits on as a priority because she knows that will fuel her to exercise. And so you get where I'm going with this. Having the time to actually think through who you want to become and what will be like if you have accomplished this goal, and then getting into the energy of that identity. How can I begin to change my identity to become this person that I want to become? Our identity is simply a perception of self. I can say I am a healthy person. So would I smoke? Unlikely, because I truly identify as a healthy human. You can offer me a smoke and I will very likely say, no, thank you. I'm healthy. Right? It goes hand in hand with the perception I have of myself. Some of the harmful perceptions you may have about yourself is I am bad with numbers. I am bad with money. Oh, I am not a person who can stay in stillness. So forget about meditation. That's just not me. I have never been good at keeping friendships or relationships. I cannot keep a plant alive for my life. That definitely used to be my story. And you know what? Just before I became a mom, I bought a whole bunch of plants, brought them home, and told them I have never been able to succeed at keeping plants alive, but I will learn from you. You guys will teach me because it's my desire to change this perception that I don't have a green thumb. And you know what? All of them are still alive. And that was 3 years ago. So I am here to remind you that you, my friend, are the CEO of your own life, that no changes, no transformation would happen in your life if you do not desire it. And one thing is to desire it. The CEO move is to plan and action it. So I encourage you, I urge you to action, to action, to action. I'm going to say it again, to action. Right after this podcast, get to it. Create a list of the goals. Create then a list of, or imagine and write down what you stand to gain if you were to accomplish those goals. And then I want you to step into the energy of the person who has already achieved that goal. What is that person doing on a regular basis that had allowed them to get to the goal? What are the habits that you're going to have to start building? And small baby habits. Don't go into macro massive things. That will be the goal. The habits are tiny little things that you can even tag to things that you are already doing. I actually talk about this in my Detox the Mind as well. One of the easiest way to create new habits or start new habit, it's by adding them to an already existing habit. So for example, I already brush my teeth every night. If I wanted to start drinking a glass of water at night, I might tag those two things together. So I might just bring a glass of water at night and put it next to my toothbrush. So once I'm done brushing my teeth, I get the cue that, oh yeah, by the way, I'm also drinking this glass of water. So that's one great way of going about your habits. But if you want more details on how to really dive into the creation of habits and detoxifying your mind from all the things that do not serve you, like self sabotage and your anxiety and fear, and all these ways in which we so skillfully manage to get on the way of our own progress, Detox the Mind is for you. The link is in the show notes. And I really, truly hope to see you in there. All right. I am concluding. I feel that I already went off too long in this podcast. I wanted to make it short, but hey, this is a subject that I am super passionate about. So, not surprisingly, I talked. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you next Monday.